Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and happy Sunday, February 12th of 2023. Now, I do have a very beautiful message for you today, but I'm going to preface it with this. So I've been on a fast all week since last Sunday. The goal was to start out with a 7-day juice fast followed by a 7-day water fast. And I've shortened that up a little bit. So I ended up doing 6 days of juicing, and now I'm in a water fast, and I'm going to go for 4 days. So it's been a really interesting week because whenever I do a fast, it puts me in a different place, not just physically, but it puts me in a different place mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So while I've been doing my juicing, and now I'm a couple days into the fasting, just water fasting, your brain literally thinks differently when you're doing that. And I'm going to detail this in a video this week. I'm going to just take you through my experience once I finish the last couple of days of this, which I'm going to end at the end of Tuesday. So I still have a couple of days, but I'm going to detail some of my experience this coming week, because this has been really interesting. It's been about 3 years since I've done a serious fast, where I used to do it a little bit more often, but the last 3 years have been extremely stressful, and I've given myself permission to drink a little more wine than I normally would, maybe eat snacks that aren't as healthy for me as I normally would, and my body has been begging me for a break. And I finally just said, okay, let's get into the mindset, let's prepare, and let's do it. So I'll detail that for you in a video coming this week. But what this does for me, like I said, puts me in a different mindset, spiritually especially, because things become clear when you're not spending all of your energy physically, emotionally, because it is emotional. To eat is emotional, but you're not spending all of that energy thinking about food, eating food, digesting, processing, eliminating, all of the things that come along with that. It puts you in a completely different mindset. And I wrote down a lot of the thoughts that I was having, and what was interesting is this week it kept coming into me, the fact that so many of us throughout the whole world these last 3 years have really been vibrating in the high emotion of fear. Now, this could stem from the fear of the virus, and then it started into the fear of lack of freedom, the moving away from things that are familiar, the fear of what if things don't go back to a place of safety and security. We all feel the movement of the energy of the earth, the movement of the shift of all the systems. So it might shift from a fear of, am I safe from this virus, to a fear, am I safe at these systems that are being put in place? So it doesn't matter what causes the fear. It matters if we're able to release that energy of fear, because it is such a low vibrational energy that it literally can keep us stuck collectively. So I kept thinking of all these little different topics and these little thoughts that were coming into my mind about what I really wanted to talk about this weekend. But this whole thing of like, how can we individually and collectively release fear, no matter what that fear is around, because it's going to be different depending on your worldview, what you study, the rabbit holes you go down, like I talk about all the time, right? So I wrote down 4 things on releasing fear, and I'm going to read some of these just so I can get some of my thoughts out to you just right. So the number one thing is to locate the belief behind the fear. So there's always a belief behind what we fear. And this can depend on who we talk to and what we watch. And again, can go back to how we were raised, those belief systems, and then how we grow and how we empower ourselves and how we learn to let love guide us rather than these belief systems that can keep us stuck. So we first need to locate what is the belief behind the fear. So this requires some deep healing inner work. This requires some really thoughtful, meditative time with just yourself. And like I said at the beginning, when you are doing a fast and you make a commitment to do a cleanse of your body, and you're in a place where you can do that physically, it makes you really think about these things. And it's actually a really, really good time to sit with yourself and go deep on some of these things, because it can take some healing with some of these belief systems that are so ingrained in us. And I don't care if that is religion or politics or economics or whatever it is. These are deep belief systems that tend to keep us stuck. And I think as humans, we have these big egos, and even if our ego, we can get that in check and we can realize that it can serve us to change our perspectives. It can be hard to let go of some of these things because we let them identify us, right? So your fear stems from a belief you have that you've been carrying around for a long, long time. So the very first thing is to identify what these beliefs are that are keeping you stuck in fear. Okay, now number 2, this one is really important. Feel the pain and the emotion that are attached to belief and fear. So you need to really sit in a place where you can feel these emotions, because you can't let them go or release them unless you feel them. So when we are in a survival mode, we don't logically view the world around us. Okay, so this sentence right there, think how powerful that is. When we are in survival mode, we are not able to think logically. I mean, think about what happened at the beginning of the pandemic. There was, even a year or 2 into it, there was so much illogical thinking happening to so many of us that you're not able to view the world and your feelings or emotions, you're not able to keep them in check because you're in survival mode. So you have to be able to feel this. So because we are reacting in a way that is life or death, we're not able to really feel the emotions behind the fear so that we can release the energy behind the fear. So I think it's a really good time because of where we are now. And to me, this is like, there's always a method, there's always steps, and there's always ways that we can go, okay, I was maybe acting illogically because I couldn't escape my survival mode, but now I see differently. And so I think one of the best ways that I found to really sit in these feelings of fear, and it can be whatever that may be. Maybe you weren't afraid of the virus at all. I know I can say, and I'm not trying to trigger anybody by saying this, but I never was afraid of the virus, ever, not even once. I was more afraid of our response to it and the reaction to it. But now I'm really looking at this in a different way, because I do believe that the world needed to shift. And sometimes big shifts are uncomfortable. And everyone's response is different. So this is where, I've had to sit and release my emotions of the fear of the things that might come out of this that I don't see going in a good direction. So I've had to kind of sit with those emotions and find a way to release them so that I could move forward in a creative mode rather than a survival mode. So isn't that interesting, right? So to me, you have to really recognize what those feelings are, and you have to be able to sit with them. So the fear from your emotions are always worse than the actual process of feeling them. Okay, think about that. So your fear of your emotions is actually worse than the actual process of feeling them. Okay, so I have a really good friend, and it's interesting because She's an amazing human being. And one of the things that I see that really, really holds her back is her fear of feeling spirituality. Like, we actually have some really good deep conversations, but she's very afraid of, what if I feel these emotions? She's afraid of the emotions. And to me, that is so fascinating, because, let me say this again, the fear of your emotions are always worse than the actual process of feeling them. So sometimes we have to feel fear. We have to feel anger. We have to feel rage. And I'm not saying act in a way that's going to be detrimental. I'm just saying, in order to release those feelings, you have to feel them. So, because this is a friend that I've known for a long time, 20 years. And it was interesting walking these last 3 years with her, as we would meet up for lunch and we'd meet up for different things, even with other friends. And I know that we're in each other's lives because we've helped each other talk out some of these feelings and some of these emotions. And it's an important relationship, because I know that I've been able to be impactful for her, and she's been impactful for me in the fact that I have a listening ear, and I have a friend who I know I can bounce some of these emotions off of. So very fascinating. So you need to allow yourself to feel the pain and release the energy and let go. And it reminds me of this little clip I saw from Dolores Cannon. And I've talked about her before. She passed away, I believe, in 2015. But she was a hypnotherapist. She did a lot of work. She wrote, I believe, 16 or 17 books. She has a lot of information online. You can watch her videos on YouTube. And her daughter is carrying on her work now too. But one of the things that I love is sometimes the fear we feel is because of lack of forgiveness. And when we can't release the feelings of needing to forgive somebody and forgive ourselves, because it takes two, always takes two. She has this little exercise that she does that is super impactful. So what you do is you close your eyes and you envision this person. You feel the feelings, you feel the anger, the rage, whatever the feelings are that are involved in this person, because sometimes there's not going to be a resolution. So it might even be somebody who's passed on, and you still have all this anger and rage at them. Or maybe it's somebody in your family or somebody who's a close friend. Maybe there's an estrangement happening, and there might not ever be a coming together, but there needs to be a releasing of these feelings. And so what you do is you close your eyes, you envision this person, you envision maybe the situation, the circumstance, or the different things that came in that caused this estrangement or caused the anger. And this can be very traumatic. These can be very, very emotional, traumatic things, or they can be small things that had a big outcome as far as an estrangement over small things. It really doesn't matter what it is. But what you do in order to release yourself from that, because that's a karmic wheel that we're going to stay stuck on if we don't release it. So you say to the person in your mind, you say, we tried, it didn't work out, I release you and I let it go. I forgive you. And I forgive myself for the part I played in it. And then you envision a contract. You tear it up and you imagine throwing it into the air, into the trash. You get rid of this. And you can, in your mind, in your energy field, you can release whatever it is that needs to be released. And this is an exercise that you can do with anything. So feeling the pain and emotion attached to anything fear-based, unforgiveness-based, this is a really important part of the whole process. So that, in fact, I think that's a huge one and maybe one of the biggest pieces. So then we're going to move to number 3, and there's only 4 here. So number 3 is to find a new supportive belief system that aligns with your desires. What is it that you desire? What is it that you want? What do you want to feel? What do you want your life to look like? do you want to walk through this in constant fear of what might happen? I say no. I say a big fat no. I want to walk through this life not in survival mode, but in creative mode. So when you find new supportive belief systems, and you might need to have an exercise where you write this down and you come back to this and you practice this. It takes practice. But when you do this, this will allow you to shift from survival mode to creative mode. So when you're in survival mode, you're being reactive. You're simply reacting to everything that life brings. You're not able to be proactive or creative. So when you're in creative mode, you are simply creating. You are creating the life you want. Now, I do believe that we are almost seeing this separation of people that are staying in survival mode, or maybe a mode where they don't see anything that's happening. And then there's another timeline of people who are walking along the path of this life, and they are fully aware, they're being prepared, they're creating the life that they want. And anytime some of these old emotions or belief systems come into their energy field, they know exactly how to deal with it, how to process it, and how to release it so that they can move on and keep going. And this is the place where all of us need to be, especially if we are on this path together, because there are I see two different paths that are happening. So use the power of conscious choice. Remind yourself that you are safe to feel it and breathe through it. Choose to become aware of your fear and no longer let it control you. That's powerful. And then number 4 is simple. Repeat as needed. Repeat this as you need it. It takes practice and dedication. It always does. Sometimes you may fall back into your fear and you need to remind yourself that you can release it and all these low vibrational energies of fear and come back to a place of love. And to me, that's it right there. When we come back to a place of love, this is how we're meant. This is who we are. Not only how we're meant to be, but this is who we are at the very core, conscious, soul self of us. We are pure love. And we are on such a dense planet with such dense energies that we walk through most of our life and we don't know that. We forget it. Sometimes we need constant reminders until we get to that place. In fact, one of my favorite things to do, and I've been doing this, actually for quite a long time, but it's been really dialed in this past year, is when I go anywhere, especially anywhere where there's people, and I walk past a person in a grocery store, in a coffee shop, I push out, not verbally out loud, but energetically, I push out, I love you. And it's amazing what you can feel when you simply push out the vibrational energy of love. It changes the atmosphere, the energy of everything. I mean, I will go up to a register, if I'm going to, in a grocery store to pay for something, I'll push out the energy of love. I will notice that the checker will literally turn, if they were looking down or they were looking at the register, because a lot of times they don't even look at you. And notice this. I will push out the energy of love, and even that thought, I love you. And they will look up at me, and I will simply smile. So I would say, if that sounds crazy to you, try it. It is a absolutely beautiful, brilliant way to walk through the world. And remember, when you vibrate in that high vibrational energy of love, you are able to affect 175,000 people. I mean, imagine if more of us did this. It takes one person at a time. And this is how we shift the world, right? This is how we shift it. So I would say sit down with yourself, go through these steps, and realize the empowered human being that you are. And, we are so blessed to be here. We are privileged to be on this planet at this pivotal time. And I say this every time, but I believe it with every fiber of who I know I am and who I know you are. It's a beautiful time to be alive. So I hope you have an amazing Sunday. I hope you have a brilliant week ahead. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.